Up, YouTube world? This is Jay, and I am here to review AEW Double or Nothing. It literally just got over, I think, 10 minutes ago. Um, it was a good pay-per-view, man. I wasn't sure if I was gonna buy it, but I got it at 7:30. I ordered it. So I was like, screw it. I don't really have anything better to do. And I thought it was going to be a pretty good show, and it held up to expectations for the most part. Uh, Actually, no, it held up to expectations, yeah, because the matches that I didn't think were going to be super awesome weren't super awesome. But every match was pretty good. Some of them were really good. So I got some notes, a lot of notes that I took down. Some of the matches, a lot of stuff just happened. My notes are mostly just spots and some shit that made me be like, oh damn. Uh, so yeah, I didn't watch the buy-in. I didn't watch any of it, so I don't know what happened there. This is just the actual pay-per-view that I watched. Um, so yeah, I'm going to go over it here. And yeah, let's get into it. The first match was the ladder match. The sorry, it's late. Um, the ladder match for the poker chip that allows a future title shot. Um, we had in that match Frank Kazarian, Scorpio Sky, Kip Sabian, Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, Colt Cabana, Joey Janela, Luchasaurus, and the Machine Brian Cage debuted with Taz. And I thought that was awesome because Taz was trying to talk to Darby Allin for a couple weeks there. And, Darby Allin didn't want to listen and, kind of just brushed Taz off. So Taz went and found the Machine Brian Cage, who was coming from Impact Wrestling. I didn't know his contract was up there. So that's cool. And that's the order that they entered too. So first it was Frankie Kazarian, then Scorpio Sky, sorry, then Kip Sabian, Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, Colt Cabana, Joey Janela, Luchasaurus, and then Brian Cage debuted last. Couple things that happened in this match that I liked. Darby Allin throws a skateboard into Kazarian's face. Then he climbs to the top of a ladder, lays Kazarian on a ladder that he had propped up between the guardrail and the ring, and Darby Allin climbs up to the top of another ladder, jumps off it with the skateboard underneath his feet. Kazarian moves. Darby Allin goes through the ladder, and I was like, if he didn't break his ankle or shin or something, it's a miracle because it looked like it hurt a lot. And then Orange Cassidy comes out, and he just walks around. He's wasting time. He asks Tony Schiavone how he wins the match again. And Tony's like, Tony Schiavone is like, Tony Khan told him 200 times how to win the match. Orange Cassidy's just doing his lazy shtick, just wasting a bunch of time. He tries to set a ladder up, but he doesn't open it, so it just falls. And then he lays, and then, as it's laying down on the ground, he just steps on it and reaches really high and tries to grab the poker chip, which there's no way he could. And then Colt Cabana gets his fingers crushed inside the ladder during a fall. He was climbing the ladder. It got tipped over. And as it tipped over, it closed, jammed his fingers up inside there. Cage is climbing the ladder with Orange Cassidy on his back, and all 7 other people have to pull him down, just showing off Cage's strength. Orange Cassidy's probably 200, close to 200 pounds, I'd assume. And then everybody, gangs up on Cage and they bury him under ladders and the huge poker chip that was part of a set. And then Marco Stunt comes out with the 3-foot tall ladder. It looked like it was 3 feet tall, anyways. And him and Luchasaurus choke slam Orange Cassidy. Marco Stunt's only like 5'3". Like, I'm pretty sure I'm taller than Marco Stunt, and I'm only 5'7" on a tall day. So Marco Stunt climbed up to like the top of the ladder and needed Luchasaurus' help to choke slam Orange Cassidy. That was pretty funny, man. There was a couple comedy spots in there with Orange Cassidy. And Cage puts Darby Allin on top of a ladder on the top rope turnbuckle, and he military presses him and then throws him plus the ladder outside of the ring into another ladder. And I think our Darby Allin might be dead. If he doesn't have a broken ankle or shin, I'd be surprised if he is not concussed, because it looked like his head hit the other ladder pretty flush. And Cage climbs the ladder to win the poker chip. So Cage gets a future title match, and that's cool. I'm not mad about that. I love Cage. I love that Taz is with Cage. I think that's awesome. And so, yeah, good for Brian Cage, man. Good for Brian Cage. And I have here, I'm pumped, though. I love Cage, and Taz is the fucking man. Boy! That's what I have typed, because I was so happy to see Taz doing something. Next up, we have Jungle Boy versus MJF. And this is a pretty good match, actually. I don't think a lot of people, including myself, were really thinking this match was going to be something special. But it was better than I thought it was going to be. In the beginning, it was some nice mat wrestling to start. And then, after a couple minutes, Jungle Boy slaps MJF right in the face to start the actual fight, if you will, not just grapple wrestling and mat wrestling. At some point throughout the match, MJF fakes an injury to his leg or ankle, to get the advantage. And JR says, classic JR, what a jerk, a talented jerk, but a jerk nonetheless. There was a couple good lines by commentary throughout the show. Jungle Boy hits a reverse Hurricane Rana pile driver move on the ring apron, and it looked like it hurt real bad, and MJF sold it like he was dead. Jungle Boy went to the top rope. MJF held the ref's foot, and as Aubrey pulled away, she, the force brought her into the top rope and knocked Jungle Boy off. And MJF ends up winning. It was a really good match, very entertaining, and both guys looked really good. Jungle Boy got a lot of offense in. MJF got some good moves in. MJF played, his part well. Jungle Boy did his thing very well. Very, very, very good match. And, yeah, that's all I have to say about that match. Like I said, better than I thought it was going to be. So, I was pleasantly surprised, which was good. The next match on the card was Cody versus Lance Archer for the TNT title. The title was just created. So the winner of this match will be the first TNT champion. Within the first 10 seconds, Archer hits his finishing move, but Cody rolls outside to avoid the pinfall. At one point, I thought this was funny. They accidentally captured Mike Tyson yawning on camera, and I knew he was going to catch some flack for that. So I mentioned yawning, and I need to yawn because I've been up since 7:30 in the morning, and it's currently 12:03 a.m. So I knew Mike was going to catch some flack for that. So I put in parentheses here, 2 minutes before that, he was very into the show, and they showed him smiling while Lance Archer was choking Cody. So it's not like he was just sitting there yawning the whole time, you know. Lance Archer military presses Cody over the top ring post to the outside, and Cody hit the ground hard. Sounded like it hurt. Cody puts on a LaBelle yes no lock. It's a LaBelle lock, but Daniel Bryan also uses it. He calls it the yes lock. He called it the no lock. So I called it the LaBelle yes no lock. And while he had that on, he wraps Archer's braid around his face for, just for extra insult. And then Cody did a nice springboard cutter off the top rope. Archer did that EVD claw. It stands for Everybody Dies claw. And I don't like that move. I don't like it. You could tell that he has the back of his hand against the back of the opponent's head. So as he's slamming it off the mat, like it's obvious his hand is hitting the mat. And, just looks weird to me. I understand it if you're going to, you can't slam somebody's head off the mat like that. Well, in UFC you could, but this isn't UFC. Maybe even in UFC you can't. I don't know. But it just looks, fake. It just exposes that move, I guess. So I don't really dig that move too much. And then Archer's walking the top rope like he did a couple weeks ago, like he was The Undertaker, and he was probably going to set up for that moonsault that he does off the top rope. But Jake the Snake distracts the referee for literally zero reason. There was zero reason at all to do that. So Arn Anderson knocks Lance Archer off the rope. Another ref comes out shortly after and does his best Tekashi 6ix9ine impression and snitches on Arn. And Arn gets thrown out, but Jake gets thrown out too. Like, what are you doing, ref? Running down to the ring to be like, oh, Arn Anderson knocked Lance Archer off the rope. What, did Jake the Snake pay you or something? Come on, man. Get out of here. Jake comes back out with his pet snake. I had to put pet in there because otherwise it would just sound awful. Tyson gets up and, gets in the way of Jake, and he's like, nah, man, you ain't getting involved. And Cody hits 2 crossroads and wins the TNT title. So Cody, I keep saying Cody Rhodes. Cody is the first ever TNT champion. It was a good match. Lance looked really good. Cody looked really good. A little sloppy with Arn and Jake and a couple botches in there, but I'm not going to nitpick. It was a very good match. These are the exact notes I have written down. I'm not going to nitpick. It was a very good match. Now, let me tell you something. A lot of fans are going to get mad either way. A lot of fans are going to be mad that Cody won because, of course he won. He's the booker and the EVP. But if Lance Archer won, a lot of fans would be mad because they'd be like, Cody never wins the big matches. But personally, I don't mind that Cody won. And I liked that you couldn't necessarily predict who was going to win. Because it was like, well, Cody could win because, you know what I mean? He's Cody, and he's very good, and he's one of the top guys there. And so he'd make a good first champion. But Lance Archer could have won because, he was on a roll. He's been destroying people. You know what I mean? So I like that you couldn't really predict it. And I'm not mad that Cody won. I'm not mad that Archer lost. I wouldn't have been mad if Archer won, and I wouldn't have been mad if Cody lost. It was a good match. It was a 50-50 match. It was all right. Let's see here. Up next, we had Chris Statlander versus Penelope Ford. At one point, Statlander does a suicide dive and damn near goes headfirst through the guardrail. She's so tall, and she jumped with such force. She just almost went right through the guardrail. Statlander hits the Big Bang Theory pile driver for the win. This match didn't, it was an average match. You know what I mean? It wasn't bad. It wasn't outstanding. Um, Chris Statlander and Penelope Ford both looked good in the match. But yeah, it was just your basic match. Um, and that's it, you know? Um, I wrote good match, nothing super noteworthy, but a good match regardless. The next match was Sean Spears versus Dustin Rhodes. Spears made the challenge. We weren't sure if Dustin was going to answer it or not. Uh, Sean Spears comes out in a suit saying Dustin ain't there. He's just saying, haha, I'm here. He's not, blah, 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 blah. His career's washed up. Then Dustin's music plays, but it's a sham that was set up by Spears, and he tells the ref to start counting to 10. That way, you can win the match by forfeit. The ref starts counting. Dustin's music hits again. Brandy Rhodes comes out, and Dustin appears behind Spears. Throughout the match, Dustin strips Sean Spears out of his suit all the way down to his underwear, which has his manager's face on it, Tully Blanchard. Tully Blanchard's face is on Sean Spears' crotch on his underwear. Why? I don't get it. Because Sean Spears was so embarrassed. Dustin ends up hitting the Reckoning finishing move for the win. It was kind of funny, but it was kind of dumb. Nice break from serious. Nice break from serious action, though. That's what I thought of the last two matches. They were just a nice break from all the other action we've seen. Kind of let you come down before the last few matches here. The next match was Akira Sheeta versus Nyla Rose for the Women's Championship. Nyla Rose throws Sheeta over the guardrail and through a poker table. And then Nyla Rose says, always bet on black. And I thought that was pretty funny. Sheeta does a nice running knee from the arena stairs down to the floor into Nyla into a big poker chip that was part of the set. I liked that move a lot. It was pretty cool. And it was a very hard-hitting match. They were laying it in super thick. Nyla powerbombs Sheeta through a table in the corner for a 2 count. Sheeta hits an avalanche Falcon Arrow for a 2 count. And then Sheeta cracks Nyla in the head with the kendo stick, then hits the running knee for the win and becomes the new women's champion. It was a good match, hard-hitting. Both women worked very, very hard. And it was a good finish. Very nice. Very nice. It was a better match than I thought it was going to be. I didn't really care too much about this match. Not that I don't care about, but the AEW women's division has been kind of hit or miss. But they're still new pretty much. So, it's all good. I ain't mad. That match was better than I thought it was going to be. Next up, we have Brody Lee versus Jon Moxley for the AEW Championship. And at first I was like, why isn't this the main event? But we'll get into that in a few minutes here. It was hard-hitting as you'd expect. Guardrails were broken. Tables were broken. People were throwing caution to the wind. Props were broken. They fought all over the arena. There was a big boot by Mr. Brody Lee to Jon Moxley that looked pretty brutal. At one point, Moxley hits a paradigm shift on Brody Lee, and they go through the rampway from the Force. Moxley comes out. Brody Lee comes out. Brody Lee's busted open. Moxley hits another paradigm shift on Brody, and Brody kicks out at 1. So Moxley just freaks, and he just beats his ass. He's punching him in the face, elbowing him. elbowing him, cut, he bit the cut on Brody's head. Jon Moxley had some blood on his mouth from it. Then he picks him up, hits another paradigm shift for just a 2 count, though. And then he applies some form of a rear naked choke, and Brody ends up passing out, and Moxley retains the title. Like I said, it was a very good, very hard-hitting match. You know what I mean? Both dudes put their bodies on the line there. I bet you they'll be feeling this one for a week or so. But yeah, Jon Moxley ends up coming out on top. I thought that was a good match. I was kind of iffy on the match. I knew it was going to be hard hitting, but like the story going into it was a little weird, a little, I don't want to say rushed, but a little rushed, I think. But what are you going to do? I'm not a big nitpicker. But it was better. The conclusion was better than the start. Like the story, like the match was better than the story would make you believe it would be. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed that match as well. And then next up, and last but not least, we have the Stadium Stampede match with the Elite and Matt Hardy versus the Inner Circle. The Inner Circle comes into they're in a football stadium, the Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium. So the Inner Circle comes in looking like a football team, and with helmets and all that stuff. And they start off by just running full speed at each other from like 20 yards away. And it kind of reminded me of like the way old wars would start. Like they would just stand super close, aim and fire, like that's all it was. And, that's why if you were on the front line, like you were pretty much good as dead. But anyways, Cowboy Adam Page comes in doing some cowboy shit and rides in on a horse because he's a cowboy, and he chases Sammy Guevara away. And I really laughed at that. I thought that was funny. Sammy Guevara is just so good at looking scared and running away. It is funny. Matt Jackson backflips off of one of the goalposts onto the Inner Circle. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a good use of the goalposts. Santana and Ortiz throw Hardy in a pool, and they go to drown him. He pops out as the real Matt Hardy. Like when he entered the match, he was broken Matt Hardy. So when they threw him in the pool, they tried to drown him. He pops out as the real Matt Hardy. They put his head back under. He pops back out as version 1 Matt Hardy, and then on the screen it shows a matter of fact, and it said Matt Hardy could hold his breath for 346 seconds, and I thought that was pretty funny. And they put him under again, and he comes back up. Or no, I'm sorry, they put him under one last time, and they seemingly kill him. Like he's just laying in the water, like, And then he comes out, I believe, as his other alter ego, Damascus. So that was pretty good. I like that pool skit there. And then at one point, Ortiz's head is put inside like a bell, like a Liberty Bell, and it gets rung, and Ortiz just like starts seizing from like the noise in his head, and I just thought that was awesome. I just thought that was super funny. Jake Hager. So Adam Page is strolling through the backstage area of the stadium, like through like the locker hall rooms and all that stuff, and he ends up seeing a sign for the bar, so he gets off of his horse, tells it to wait there, and he goes into the bar. Jake Hager ends up finding him in the bar, and they start fighting. Adam Page does some cool maneuvers to dodge Hager, like he back rolls over onto a pool table, like some pretty agile shit. and but eventually Hager gets the upper hand, and he puts Page on the bar face down and slides him down the whole bar like they were in an old Western movie or some shit. And I thought that was pretty great. Kenny Omega comes in and they take care of Hager. Then Adam Page pours a glass of milk, and Kenny pours some whiskey. And Kenny gives the whiskey to Adam Page, and Adam Page gives the milk to Kenny. They cheers and drink. And then back in the stadium, Jericho hits Matt Jackson in the face with the sharp end of the line markers, that they pull out to be like 1st and 10 or 4th and inches, And after he hits him in the face with it, he says, "That'll move the chains," like real smarky. I thought that was funny. Jericho gives the Jags mascot the Judas effect and knocks him out. That was pretty funny. Matt Jackson does 100 yards worth of Northern Lights suplexes to Sammy Guevara, and then spikes his head like a football, then dances. Then he gets a penalty called on him for excessive celebrating. He then super kicks the ref, and also Jericho challenged the 2 count. So, yeah, the 100 yards obviously wasn't 100 yards. It was pre-taped. But, they made it, they did it in such a way where, he would do, 10 yards, and then they'd come back, and he'd be at, the 50-yard line, and then they'd come back, he'd be at, the 5, and then they'd finish it off. And then when Jericho challenged the 2 count, what? He just pulled the red flag out from his tights. It was like, "I'm challenging that ref. That was 3. So they go into the challenge booth, and it was just ridiculous, but I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? It was really ridiculous, but I did enjoy it. Because it's there is instant replay in wrestling, so why not? You know what I mean? Why not challenge a 2 count? You know what I mean? And then, Chris Jericho gets beat up and laid out. He gets put through a table. And then Adam Page comes out pushing the line painter, the thing that paints the lines on the field. And he drives it right over Jericho. So there's a line going over Jericho's crotch, his torso, right up his neck. That was just funny shit, man. And then Kenny Omega hits a one-winged angel from a booth in the crowd, it looked like, or where the crowd would be sitting in the stadium, down through some kind of wooden structure, and he got the pinfall victory for the Elite. So the Elite beats the Inner Circle in the first ever Stadium Stampede. It was a ridiculous filled match, very fun and very funny, and it sent you home feeling good. You know what I mean? Just laughing and smiling, which is why I guess it was the main event, and everybody in that match did a really great job doing their part. There was a couple, little small botches here or there where things looked weird. But again, I'm not here to nitpick, overall, it was very good. And yeah, I think that's why it was the main event. Like I said, during the Moxley match, I was like, how isn't this the main event? It's for the title, like it should be. But after watching the main event, the Stadium Stampede, it makes sense how that was the main event. After the show, you were smiling, you were laughing, that was so ridiculous, but it was so good. It was good. Overall, the pay-per-view was good. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably give it an 8. Yeah, overall it was good. Very enjoyable, easy to watch, entertaining. Everybody did a good job in it. So yeah, that was my review on AEW Double or Nothing. Whoever watches this, I hope you enjoy it. Stay safe out there, folks, and have a good night. Peace.